1. Top picks for the British Open 2024. Who will leave the Claret Jug? 2. Royal Portrush 2025. Inside the Open Championship, exclusive insights and drama. 1. Top picks for the British Open 2024. Who will leave the Claret Jug? Bold news for golf enthusiasts. The British Open is poised to deliver an epic showdown that might defy all expectations. As we approach the final major championship of the season, this week's event at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland is already stirring debates among fans and experts alike. The British weather is as unpredictable as ever, and even the most skilled players can have their game upended by a sudden shift in conditions. But here's where it gets controversial. A close look at past champions reveals intriguing trends that could help us predict who might seize glory this year. Let's break down the key patterns from previous winners. In the last 13 championships, 11 champions had already secured a top 10 finish at the Open before eventually winning it. Notably, last year's victor Xander Schauffele exemplifies this trend. Additionally, 17 of the past 24 winners had notched a victory earlier in the same season entering the tournament, with only a rare outlier in Ben Curtis's 2003 upset. Every champion had at least 2 top 10 finishes that season before the British Open. Furthermore, 10 of the previous 13 winners had a top 20 finish in one of their last 2 majors, and every champion had either secured a major win or been the runner-up at least once in their career. It's also interesting that 11 of the past 13 winners posted at least one top 10 finish in their previous 3 tournaments. And here's a detail most fans miss. Of the last 15 champions, only one finished better than a tie for 17th in the prior year's Open, a scenario echoed when Brian Harman rose from a 6th-place finish to win the Claret Jug in 2023. With these historical benchmarks in mind, here are the top contenders for this week's British Open, with odds noted as of Monday. Scottie Scheffler, plus 450. Despite the British Open historically being his weakest major, Scheffler's track record is anything but weak. In 4 appearances, he has recorded 2 top 10 finishes and never finished lower than 23rd. The world number 1, who has accumulated 3 wins since early May, including a commanding victory at the PGA Championship, now boasts a nearly foolproof game. The Open rewards players who hit greens in regulation or successfully scramble for par when they miss, and Scheffler excels in both. Ranked 2nd in scrambling on the PGA Tour and 13th in greens in regulation, his only potential setback is his putting. In each of his British Open outings and even at the recent Scottish Open, he has struggled with slower greens. If he can get his putter to work on these challenging surfaces, the rest of his polished game should make him a formidable opponent. Rory McIlroy, plus 700. McIlroy's story at the Open is a roller coaster. In what should have been a homecoming triumph in 2019, Royal Portrush being only about 60 miles from his Northern Irish roots, he instead shot an 8 over par 79 and missed the cut despite a stellar second-round 65 by others. Following his stirring Masters victory in April, his form dipped into bouts of inconsistency, though he nearly snatched the lead at the Scottish Open before trailing behind Chris Guterup. With a 2014 British Open win under his belt and 6 other top 10 finishes at the event, dismissing McIlroy would be unwise. Jon Rahm, plus 1,200. Although Rahm has yet to claim a win on the LIV golf circuit this year, he has demonstrated remarkable consistency by never finishing below 11th in 10 tournaments. He nearly triumphed at a recent LIV event in Spain, finishing just 1 stroke behind the winner, and has also opened the door with strong performances, 7th at the US Open and 8th at the PGA Championship. Over the past 4 years, Rahm has come close at the British Open with finishes of 3rd, 2nd, and 7th, including an 11th place in 2019. Leading LIV in greens in regulation and ranking 3rd in scrambling, his game is finely tuned for the Open's unique challenges. Tommy Fleetwood, plus 2,800. There's a special kind of intrigue around Tommy Fleetwood. Recently infamous for a nerve-wracking 72nd hole three-putt at the Travelers Championship, Fleetwood has yet to secure a win on US soil. However, the British Open is played oceans away from the US, and the Englishman's record on the European Tour is formidable, with 7 wins and 5 top 10 finishes this season. He has twice come agonizingly close to a major title, including a near miss at this very venue. Though he missed the cut last year at the Open, his ability to bounce back in familiar conditions cannot be underestimated. Victor Hovland, plus 3,000. Hovland's recent withdrawal from the Travelers Championship due to a neck injury might raise a few eyebrows, but he seems unfazed, as evidenced by vacation photos that have recently surfaced on social media. His 11th place finish at the Scottish Open reinforces his potential, despite only having 2 top 10 finishes this season, a win at the Valspar Championship and a strong third at the US Open. At the British Open, his past performances have been solid, never falling below 13th and even boasting a tie for 4th in 2022. While his play around the greens sometimes causes concern, his excellent stats in strokes gained near the greens and as a scrambler suggest he'll be right in the mix. Robert McIntyre, plus 3,500. The young Scottish sensation, McIntyre, has racked up 5 top 10 finishes this season, including an impressive solo runner-up finish at the US Open. On his British Open debut at Royal Portrush in 2019, he tied for 6th, a performance that hinted at his growing prowess. Now, at just 22 years old and with a PGA Tour win at the Canadian Open, played on a course by Harry Colt, who also designed Royal Portrush, McIntyre could very well be the dark horse that surprises us all. Sepp Straka, plus 5,000. For those willing to embrace a bit of risk, Sepp Straka offers an intriguing option. The University of Georgia product has 2 PGA Tour wins this season, yet he has missed the cut at all 3 majors this year and has only 2 top 10 finishes in 17 major appearances. However, one of these was a tie for 2nd at the British Open 2 years ago at Royal Liverpool, and one of his career wins came at the famously challenging PGA National in Florida, a course where wind and rough conditions bear a resemblance to those at Royal Portrush. With his exceptional accuracy off the tee, 4th in strokes gained on approach this season, keeping the ball in play is a key strength that could work well in these conditions. Russell Henley, plus 6,500. Another standout from the University of Georgia, Henley is in fine form, boasting 3 consecutive top 10 finishes, including a notable performance at the US Open and an elite win at the Arnold Palmer Invitational earlier in the year. Although his career record in majors has only 4 top 10 finishes out of 44 appearances, they have all come in the recent past, including a 5th place finish at Royal Troon last year. Ranking 14th on the PGA Tour for greens in regulation and 6th in strokes gained around the green, Henley's balanced game suggests he has the tools required to navigate the challenges of Royal Portrush. Patrick Reed, plus 8,000. Fresh off a win at a LIV event near Dallas, Patrick Reed enters the tournament riding a wave of momentum with 9 top 10 finishes this season, all part of his push to secure a spot on the US Ryder Cup team. Known as much for his 2018 Masters triumph as for his scrambling wizardry, Reed's recent British Open performances have been less than stellar, a missed cut followed by finishes of 47th and 33rd. Nonetheless, his solitary top 10 finish, a 10th place at Royal Portrush in 2019, offers a glimmer of hope that he might once again find his best form. Brian Harman, plus 12,000. Finally, we have Brian Harman, another Bulldog whose narrative is both inspiring and unconventional. After his exhilarating British Open win in 2023, Harman dropped to a 60th place finish this year, a deed that, paradoxically, might strengthen his candidacy. Historical trends suggest that a near miss before a championship win, as happened when Harman finished 6th prior to claiming the title, can be a harbinger of future success. Add in his recent PGA Tour triumph at the Texas Open and an impressive 8th place finish at the Travelers Championship, and his steady, controlled playing style, marked by conservative tee shots and precise approach play, renders him a player to watch closely. In summary, these 10 contenders represent a fascinating cross-section of talent, experience, and unique skill sets tailored for the challenges of the British Open at Royal Portrush. But here's a final question to spark debate. Do these historical trends and current stats really predict major championship success, or is there an unpredictable magic about the Open that could turn the table? 2. Royal Portrush 2025, Inside the Open Championship, Exclusive Insights and Drama. Imagine a world where the titans of golf, the media moguls, and the everyday fans all converge on a tiny village, creating a unique blend of chaos and camaraderie. That's precisely what happens at the Open Championship, and this year's edition at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland is no exception. Brendan Porath and Joseph Lemonnier are on the ground, soaking it all in, and they've shared some fascinating insights to set the stage for the opening round of the 153rd Open. One insight: the Open's unique communal vibe. Brendan Porath kicks things off by highlighting the truly unique atmosphere of the Open. He notes how the entire golf ecosystem, a billion-dollar industry, descends upon a small port village on the north coast of Northern Ireland. It seems quite mental, he quips, using a local term. It's a stark contrast to the usual major championship scene, which often involves sprawling across various suburbs of major American cities. Porath paints a vivid picture: a tipsy young fan requesting a selfie with PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan, Ted Scott, Scottie Scheffler's caddy, playing a twilight round at a nearby course, and ESPN writer Paolo Aggetti spotting Tyrrell Hatton on a shaggy seaside par 3 course. Restaurants, coffee shops, and even beach walks are filled with this amusing mix of golf pilgrims, power brokers, and bemused locals. The Open consumes the town, creating a carnival-like atmosphere. He contrasts this with the American model, where cities are eager to activate their businesses by hosting a major. But does the Open need a major market with corporate sponsors ready to capitalize on the event? It seems to be doing just fine, thank you very much. In fact, its infrastructure is bigger than ever. But here's where it gets controversial: the Open's embrace of infrastructure concerns has become as prominent as it is for other majors. This has led to questions about the suitability of smaller markets like Turnberry, Muirfield, and even the potential for an urban Portmarnock. These were key topics raised with the new R&A chief, Mark Darbon. Ultimately, the Open's identity is rooted in great golf courses, and is secure enough in its product and business to visit these smaller destinations, creating a communal golf festival for the week. Justin Rose's major championship preparation secrets. Joseph Lemonnier shifts the focus to player preparation, specifically highlighting Justin Rose. Rose has had strong chances at winning multiple major championships recently, showcasing his ability to perform under pressure even as he approaches 45. Lemonnier asked Rose about his major championship preparation strategies, and his response was insightful. Rose explained that the days leading up to a major can be incredibly difficult due to the demands of fans, media, and other obligations. He revealed that he started implementing different strategies around 2013, before his win at Merion. His approach involves spending 2 or 3 days the week prior to the tournament, when the course is in championship-ready condition but without the crowds. This allows him to thoroughly study the course, putt to every pin, and make detailed notes without the distractions and energy drain of the tournament week. Lemonnier emphasizes that being on-site makes it easy to understand Rose's point. Preparing for a major while managing external demands is both time-consuming and energy-intensive. Practice rounds take forever. Rose's strategy of acclimating to the course in advance seems like the most intelligent approach, and it's coming straight from a major champion himself. One thing to watch for Thursday: Calamity Corner and a spicy ping. Looking ahead to the opening round, Lemonnier points to the 236-yard par 3 16th hole, known as Calamity Corner. With the wind projected to be in the players' faces for the first 2 rounds, he anticipates some serious carnage. He wouldn't be surprised if the RNA moves the tees up, but even then, it's going to be a challenging hole. Poref, on the other hand, has his eye on the front left pin on the 14th hole. If the wind blows from the south and southeast, players will be trying to access that pin with a downwind, pushing the ball even closer to the dramatic greenside fall-offs and one of the most stately bunkers on the course. The sloping left side and the magnetic nature of the bunker are already imposing enough, but with the wind pushing in that direction, Thursday's conditions could make it particularly treacherous. The forecast calls for 15 to 20 miles per hour gusts in the morning and 25 to 35 miles per hour gusts in the afternoon. One amusement, chili or mac and cheese. And a band golfer, ****. Lemonier's amusing observation comes from the media center, where a well-known architecture writer, who shall remain nameless, inquired about the hot dish of the day. Upon learning it was beef chili, the writer declared that it would be another mac and cheese day. Lemonier found this more amusing than the server did. And this is the part most people miss. Poref's amusement is far more sensational. A letter from Oakmont Country Club notifying members that Wyndham Clark has been banned from the club. While not directly Open-related, the timing of the letter's release during the Open makes it a likely topic of conversation. Poref calls it an absolutely incredible document that should be preserved for history, comparing it to Greg Norman's infamous "Surely You Jest" epistle. The letter, signed by Oakmont President John Lynch, states that Clark is no longer permitted on OCC property due to his recent behavior. Reinstatement is contingent upon Clark fulfilling several conditions, including repaying damages, contributing to a charity of the board's choosing, and successfully completing counseling and/or anger management sessions. Poref is clearly captivated by the situation, stating, "I cannot get enough," and while it hardly overshadows the Open, it is by far the most amusing thing of the day. So, what do you think? Was Oakmont justified in banning Wyndham Clark? Is the Open's unique atmosphere a strength or a weakness? And which hole at Royal Portrush do you think will cause the most carnage on Thursday? Share your thoughts in the comments below.